This is Dolany TV, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion here on the channel this evening. And ooh, baby, we got to discuss some insider trading with Pierre LeBrun and Darren Dreger. Not usually my regular news sources for Edmonton Oilers discussion, but today they are, as they are mentioning some news about the Oilers, potentially the Leafs, and potentially the Minnesota Wild. We won't touch on the Minnesota Wild because I think that one should be dedicated to its own video. This one, a topic that amalgamates three different players into one discussion from the Toronto Maple Leafs in terms of the Edmonton Oilers' interests. So that being the simple fact that the Oilers are targeting that top six winger. However, you kind of mix this in, you could also be finding your third line centerman in that same trade. So, guys, with that, what am I talking about? Well, maybe first off, I should get to the fact, I should plug myself, is if you're interested in more Oilers news, if you want to stay up to date with the Oilers, I try my best daily to get you what you need to know. So hit that subscribe button. I've got an animation here somewhere for that right there. The goal, I'm trying to hit 7,500, but you know what? The numbers aren't that important. What's important is the discussion, and that's where I now turn it over. You're going to hear the names. You're going to hear my reasoning. You're going to hear my logic. I want you to give me your thoughts in the comments section below. I've been trying my best to respond as much as possible as of late. Problem is, she's been cold. I haven't been out in the truck. We've been in the shop a lot more, which means I haven't been out there replying to comments as we drive along the road on the afternoon. So that said, let me get to this. This is the Edmonton Oilers target list, I guess you could call it. The Toronto Maple Leafs forward roster. Shall we get to that? That's what we'll call it. The Oilers target, and that being three guys right there in the middle. These three guys, Alexander Kerfoot, Andreas Johnsson, and then Kasperi Kapenen. Those are the three guys Darren Dreger mentioned in particular, outside of Matt Dumba with the Minnesota Wild, that the Edmonton Oilers are interested in when it comes to discussing things with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, is this by any means, did I read into insider trading saying a trade is imminent, this is about to happen, this is panic, throw the alarms, we're trading with the enemy per se? No. That's not where we're going in terms of Oilers fan, and I hope you really aren't going there on Twitter or the internet. This is just the Oilers are looking, and these guys are coming up as options. So all this is preliminary, right? We're about a month and a half away from the trade deadline, month and a week, whatever you want to say. And this is where we get interesting, right? I'll be pretty much doing one of these videos, I feel like, pretty much every 4-5 days at this point of the year. And something maybe I missed out on a little bit last year is the rumors and trying to stay up to date with that because of the terrible internet I had, trying to source all the internet in the house just to me when everybody else needed to use it as well. That doesn't work so well. So dedicated internet for YouTube this year, mint, good to go. That means we can discuss full-heartedly tonight, even though it's 7 o'clock at night when I'm recording this, the Alexander Kerfoot, Andreas Johnsson, and Kasperi Kapenen options for the Edmonton Oilers. What needs to be noted first is the contracts for these three guys. Kasperi Kapenen, your lowest cap hit, $3.2 million, 3 years on that contract. He's a right winger, so a guy that, fits into that top six. Maybe for you goofs down in Calgary who are saying, oh, Kazian's not a top line player, he's a fourth liner. There you go. Maybe this is Kasperi Kapenen, dudes. The fit you've got alongside Connor McDavid to please those Calgary Flames fans. Now, I'm just flaming fans there right now because oh man, too much fun to be had between Oilers fans and Flames fans right now. But this is the Oilers Leafs. Let's stay there. So Kasperi Kapenen, obviously a guy that I'm not going to kid you, I've had on the target list since the off season when we had a chance to sign him as an RFA and give up a second rounder if you sign him to a $3.8 million contract. Ken Holland chose not to do it. Fair enough. Here we are talking about trading for him now with 3 years of control and pretty much $600,000 less than I was willing to pay for him, or I was willing to pay even in the $4 million. So we're good. I'm not complaining about possibly having to trade, especially we'll have to move money, and does that mean Chris Russell in a pick? Does that mean Adam Larson straight up? And that's exactly it is. Right now, I'm not going to discuss the exact options the Oilers have, because if you caught my Jujhar Khaira video, it'll be linked at the end of this video, but if you caught my discussion on trading Jujhar Khaira and what options the Oilers have, it's limitless, but our hands are pretty tied, if that makes sense. There's ways to go about it, but I've been yelling about those ways since about February 15th last year, and guess what? We still haven't had any of those ways go that. So what do you do, right? Okay, moving on. Andreas Johnsson, well, another option, right? You've got 4 years of control. This is the weird one. I think Andreas Johnsson signed before Kapenen. $3.4 million at a total of 4 years. That buys up some free agency years as well. At 25 years old, he's a left winger, so there you go. Maybe on that top line again with Connor McDavid and James Neal. You can move James Neal back to right wing, right? You have some options. Obviously, right now, I'm pretty attached, and this may go down as a dying video for me in the end when we get to this trade and it happens and things aren't still the same as they were January 16th, 2020, in the fact that Draisaitl, Nugent-Hopkins, and Yamamoto is such an effective line, and I don't want that messed up. Keep it at the same, figure out something on the top line option kind of deal. Well, Johnsson, McDavid, Neal, some yes, Oilers fans, we're talking at 3.4, and then you've got Alexander Kerfoot at 3.5 million, who's another very viable, good option as well, and that's where I was talking about the option being a second or third line centerman behind Nuge and of course our good man McDavid. Now, is this Kapenen? Yes, Kasperi Kapenen. A guy who has 28 points, 47 games played, 10 goals, 18 assists, all around looks to be all right so far this season. That said, those 28 points are equivalent to well over 25% of his career points in the NHL. So buy into it what you will. Buyer beware that you're probably buying a guy that's had some success so far in his career. But remember, it's 25 points in 44 games in 15-16. Then 1.8 games in 16-17, then you go 24 points in 28 games in 17-18, and then the big year, 44 points in 78 games in 18-19. Of course, only scoring goals in the 20s once, that being last year. Not on pace to do that this season. Give him Connor McDavid, we'll talk. All right, let's get to the next guy on the list, Andreas Johnsson, who, again, similar, these guys, not very proven in the NHL to a degree, is they have 2 or 3 seasons under their belt, and this one, Andreas Johnsson, a little bit more proven, sure, but you look at it this way, right, is he's actually less proven, pardon me, I'm reading 9s upside down, they're actually 6s. He's had a total of 114 career games, 62 goals, 62 points, 28 goals in his career. He's been a 20-goal scorer consistently in the AHL since coming over from Frölunda HC back in the day. But that's aside, as he's had 6 goals, 10 assists, 16 points in 32 games this season. So a little bit less of a scoring capacity than Kasperi Kapenen this year, for a higher cap hit, might I add. And of course, last year, 43 points, 20 goals, 23 assists, 73 points. Now, 43 points on the Oilers in the top 6. Guys, we're dying for that. We're dying, literally dying out there for that. So maybe, again, a good option. See what you can get. What is it going to cost you? Is it going to cost you Russell and a pick, Larson and something, or yes, Puljujärvi? Like, there's too many options to name here, and I don't want to start throwing away around spitballs and creating panic, because every time I throw around names in an Oilers trade rumor, oh my goodness, guys, it just gets messy, and that's fine. That's fine by me, but it's just I sit here and have to defend mine, and there's people who take it this way, that way, and the other way, and we're no further ahead than we are behind. All right, let's move on. The Colorado Avalanche product, Alexander Kerfoot, who started his career in 17-18, who is by far the most proven and the most controllable, if I'm not mistaken, out of all of these guys, right? He's got control through 2022, 2023. And look at this. Colorado Avalanche, his first season, 79 games played, 43 points, 42 points, 78 games played in 18-19. Again, though, this is the goal scoring. I know what a lot of people are looking for if the Oilers do acquire a top 6 winger is goal scoring. None of these guys are big, light you up goal scorers, but you put them beside Connor McDavid, you put them in a chance to succeed, kind of like Kailer Yamamoto with Draisaitl and Nugent-Hopkins, you kind of see where the math fits in the top 6 for a guy who might not necessarily be a big-time goal scorer to come in and score some big-time goals. Yes, talk about Kassian, but Kassian has a completely different fit in the top 6 than any one of these 3 guys in pretty much a consensus opinion amongst Oilers fans, I think, if we took a poll. So 19 goals, 15 goals this year in 42 games, 7 goals, so roughly on pace for about 14, 15 if we push it under Alexander Kerfoot in an 82 game season. That said, that's not happening because that's just not reality. He's not playing a full 82. He's missed some games. So that's kind of your options, right? The Oilers looking at 3 different guys, kind of trying to figure out what to do, where to go. And honestly, if I had to pick one, again, I always go lowest cap hit for the most bang, and that is Kasperi Kapenen straight up. Will the Leafs part with Kapenen? Like, it's going to take something, right? Like, I've ranked kind of how this would go, right? Larson, Russell in a pick, Jesse Puljujarvi, and something. Well, you kind of see it's a 3-tier. Larson being probably our most valuable return, and that's probably, if you rank it the other way, is you're probably going Kapanen, Kerfoot, and then you've got Johnsson in terms of the Oilers' want list, if that makes sense. You could argue Kapanen and Kerfoot could be totally tied because Kerfoot's a winger or centerman according to Cap Friendly. I don't know, I haven't watched the Leafs. I think he centered his own line against the Oilers this season, but right, small sample size. It's a lot to take in because, yeah, sure, you know what? We've got names now on what the Oilers are targeting, what they're discussing, and that we really haven't had to a full extent this season. So this is where the next month and a half is going to get really fun, really engaging for a lot of people, is because we get to start discussing, okay, we know we're in on this. Now, what are we getting done? And that's kind of where it goes, is I'm going to shoot 50 shots in the dark, and I'm probably going to hit 1 target. So if you're sitting here angry that I'm talking about this and my trade rumors are never accurate, guess what? The NHL guys, too, are hardly ever accurate. They'll name 15 guys before they name the guy that's actually traded for, right? They might name 3 guys at the start of the year, a guy in November, that guy gets traded to the Oilers in March, and then they'll name 9 guys between November and March. Now, the math doesn't add up to 15 there, but you get my point, guys. It's going to get interesting. It's good discussion. I want to hear it in the comments below. While you're on your way down there, please consider, after you've heard me talk senselessly for 15 minutes almost, hit that subscribe button. I'm Tyson. This is Stolany TV. I am up on out of here.